Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Wednesday, December 6, 2023, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We will be having a Time for Change call tonight around 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about electric bodies and a lot of other things. Everything is connected to our understanding of who and what we are. That opens the gates. No more tricks can be played on you. No more illusions can be deployed. You are the master and commander. This opens up a whole new horizon for the civilization. That's why it's so suppressed, and so many are distracted from it. And very distraction is what we have all created for ourselves, which is the material physical world. And most of us are so convinced that is real. That's real. Touch it, you feel it, smell it, then it's got to be real. And this is what keeps us as a civilization in a loop effect, where we are just basically going in circles. But we believe that we're moving forward. And the understanding is that if we're kept in a fog or haze, then we won't truly find out the truth. And the irony to it is that we are supremely powerful beings, omnipotently powerful. We are creators of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. We just got locked in to a process as gods in these bodies where it's, as I've said, it seems like we're disconnected, but we're not. The illusion is the disconnection. The illusion is separation. But we're not separate. And the understanding that we are one, that we don't have anything to worry about, that the only thing that is real is the God, the pure consciousness that you are in that body. That's the only thing that's real. That's the only divine perfection. Everything else that changes is an illusion. Not real. Kind of like once you get acclimated to holographic imaging, it will give you an understanding of why everything seems so real in the material physical world. Because pure consciousness creates everything. The trees are pure consciousness. Anything that's life, anything that is connected with life, that is life, is the true essence of creation, which is God, pure consciousness. Now, it's a choice that we all make. Sooner or later, this lifetime, next lifetime, or 100 lifetimes from now, we make these choices. But yet, since the majority of us don't know who and what we are, then the choices, how do we make the choices? The choices are made through other people's thoughts and the ego mind, which currently the master, which is an illusion, the master of the majority of the civilization is the ego mind. The master and commander. And it takes practice. Like we know, with any of us, it takes practice. We practice something that we don't know, and then we decide, well, I'm going to learn that, so I'm going to practice it until I understand it, and that I'm efficient at it when I get efficient at it. It's the same with the meditation going into the now. The only place that we will have a direct understanding, an awake awareness of connection with the gods that we are in these bodies is through the now. There's no other way. There's only the now. So, but most of us do what? And none of us are exempt from it. We wander. We wander into yesterday. We wander into tomorrow. Our direction is always yesterday or tomorrow. And it doesn't mean that we intentionally do it. It's just that for most, that's all that we have known, yesterday and tomorrow. And, of course, that's where the ego mind is. It's something that when we come into these bodies, we are not aware what it's going to be like. And I know that might sound strange, but we don't know what it's going to be like because we have amnesia. So for us, at least the majority of us, the vast majority, for us, when we enter these bodies, it's a first time. It seems to be a first time. It isn't. Many of us have been around, and it is kind of, old souls, new souls. But since we're all connected to the one, and once we discover who and what we are, we can tap into the oldest of the oldest, if you want to call it old, and interface with the information, the God, the pure consciousness. You imagine that you could reach in to this resource, this pool of understanding and great knowledge and great experience whenever you chose to, or whenever you choose to. It is a step-by-step process. There's no cutting corners. See, a lot of us will try to cut corners because we're so excited about getting to a certain understanding that we think that we can skip things in order to get there faster. And of course, what is that's influencing us is the ego mind to do that. And remember, none of us are in a race. Many get that confused with the proverbial rat race of the planet, the scurrying around and hustling and hurrying and always in a hurry, always having to do something, always having to be, what do they call it on this planet? Productive. If you aren't productive, then you're useless, right? All of us have been productive through so many lifetimes that we pretty much have lost track that we've had so many lifetimes. And that isn't an ego, it's just a heart mind. It's what we do. It's what we all do. We inhabit life forms. We inhabit the life forms because, why? To experience. And then eventually we close the door on the body and we leave. But if you don't know who and what you are while in the body, what do you think happens when you leave the body? You're not going to know who and what you are. Why do you think so many souls get in a cycle on this planet and they get connected or attached? To what? Earth, to the planet. Walking around believing they're alive. Every one of us can do anything we choose to do in this life. From the heart mind. There are no limitations. We have no limitations whatsoever. There's no impossibilities. Most of us will agitate ourselves. When you're in the water, most of us will swim in the water, right? But there are those of us who will float in the water, not swim. That analogy example explains and describes letting go, relaxing, going with the flow, floating in the water. You're not interested in going anywhere, right? You're already there. You float. Once you can make the transition of knowing that, okay, I'm not this body, so I'm going to go deeper within and find out just exactly what I am. And then have a conversation with what I am. There are those civilizations throughout existence and beyond that have traveled, so to speak, the same path that we are all on. And it's experience. And the more we become aware, actually the more exciting it gets. Not about out there, but about in here. How many of us do you believe are open to everything? To be open to everything. No matter what surfaces. You visualize for yourself that you are the universe. And the universe is you. And not allow the ego mind to make you believe that that's not possible. Because really, truly, anything is possible. It is a deep, welcoming mind that creates an enlightened mindset where we actually feel, see, and understand the divine perfection of this life. We become more interesting people as we stop wasting our energy trying to negate others, ourselves, or continuously be upset with the way life is. How many of us are continuously upset by the way life is. Now, in a mind that is free from all judgments of ourselves and others, we will naturally appreciate it all. We won't just look at the glass as being half full. We will look at the glass as being half empty and half full. And we would be able to feel this infinite empty universe all around us. And also sense how the sun is always rising somewhere on the planet, sharing and radiating its brilliant light. Then what's the illusion? The illusion on this planet would be the clouds, right? Would make people believe that there's no sun. This statement's always made. There's no sun today. Which we know is not true. And the sun is always shining on this planet 24/7 somewhere. Living in the enlightened mindset is like floating in a sea of orgasm. Waves of deep cosmic energy opening to joy, happiness, appreciation, ecstasy can actually waft through our body at any time. When the mind is not occupied with judgments, we have more energy to make more love, explore our spiritual nature, and taste the freedom that exists at the core of our being. When we can live daily in this enlightened mindset, everything inside us changes. All the previous pain we've been carrying seems to have mysteriously disappeared. We can naturally and fully relax into our divine balanced nature. And what you may find is the most interesting aspect of all is that this judgment-free enlightened mind is our most natural state. It is already inside us and exists at the core of who we are, at the seed of our consciousness itself. We can only experience it directly, however, when we have respect, reverence for the perfect balance that exists in everything. And when we acknowledge the divine balance within every situation, person, coincidence, accident, belief, memory, and atom and quantum particle throughout this universe, we can open it up. We can open up to it. The more acceptance we have that there's always good in the bad and bad in the good, something deeper inside us lets go. And we can finally relax into our deepest spiritual experience of this life. When the mind calls off the search for defining and redefining what's good and bad, we have an infinite reservoir of creative energy to surrender fully to our soul. This enlightened life is not just about cultivating a deeper relationship with our mind. It's about getting beyond the mind. Meta-mind, beyond mind. Meta meaning beyond. When we master our mind, and we will, we no longer live in fear. Ever again. Period. When the mind falls from its altar, we rise to the summit. As we learn how to drop into a perpetual state of surrender, allowing the greater intelligence of this universe to run this entire show, we see how every precious moment in this life has this bigger universal force behind it all. Seeing this, the mind totally gives up, and we realize that we have become the perfection that exists within everything. With enough awareness, we can totally stop the judgments, the judgmental mind, habit, and wake up from the addiction. Then we will know what real freedom is like. And nothing else will satisfy more than this freedom. This true freedom is free from all forms of pain. It is the greatest experience of this life. This means the mind can slip back into clinging to delusion and desire, and we don't. See, the mind will, but we won't. The mind might crave, whine, and yearn to be free. Yet, we know that we, you, are the one behind it who is actually already free. We remain the watcher, deeply detached and liberated from the mind's antics. It's the greatest, deeply eternal loving of all when we realize that we are not our mind. See, once we understand and we practice welcoming, say, judgments, the easier it becomes to see the mind on how to be free from it. When we can always see the good, the bad, and the balanced meeting of the two, then the struggle of this life doesn't matter so much anymore. The mind soon gets trained to only see balance and perfection. It automatically observes how the good is in the bad and the bad is in the good, and how these two worlds always collide, and there is nothing left but freedom. There's just the pure observer, watching and witnessing it all. Rely on the essence of your pure wisdom mind, not on judgmental perceptions. Rely on the spirit and meaning of the teachings, not on the words. The enlightened judgment-free mind is always available and shows up when we release the need to be right and instead create more room to be happy. And what is happiness? Happiness through inner peace becomes the goal, instead of striving and focusing on surviving this life. Happiness through inner peace becomes the goal. With inner peace as the priority, the dualistic mind soon becomes free from attachment, desire, resistance, contraction. We surrender to the heart and can actually feel deeply okay with whatever manifests and does not manifest in our lives. This enlightened mindset is not hard to achieve. It just takes the most deeply rooted devotion to ourselves. We must choose to be willing to know ourselves intimately. How many of us do? And never stray from exploring further about who, and what we are. This exploration leads us to a profound honoring of the sacredness in all things in life. we start honoring that this balanced state of perfection is everywhere. And we have nothing to complain about or try to change in ourselves anymore. Instead, we start worshiping everything around us. We see everything and everyone as the divine in physical form. We bow down to this very ordinary life and call it God. We look into a blade of grass and understand how it's just as sacred and important as our entire galaxy, this universe and beyond. Now, to remain in a judgment-free, enlightened mind every day, we must choose to look at what cannot be looked at and revel in being totally real with our pain. If we wish to remain liberated, we must choose to be willing to see where we are still in prison, fighting to get out. As long as we are fighting, we are still not truly free. So we must choose to always be aware of the slippery mind. We must choose to never allow the sneaky judgments to take over us again. Once you discover it, we practice that this will not happen again for us. So that we will not allow the sneaky judgments to take over us again. We must choose to be 100% creatively devoted to continuously being awake, aware, and ready to step beyond a seemingly safe, judgmental world. All of us and the others that are awake, we must choose to become the black sheep of this world if we are to be truly free. We cannot ever agree with anyone who says that some things are just 100% bad and nothing good at all will ever come out of it. We must choose to stop all movement whenever any judgment arises. We must choose to watch our thoughts and beliefs vigilantly and be totally aware whenever this mind starts believing in some final truth. We must choose to do everything we can so that the ego cannot harden and cling to any opinions formed or thoughts containing right and wrong beliefs. This path takes some serious devotion. Blaming holds you in the energy of the duality of victim and abuser. Forgiving is a direct way of reclaiming your power. Free yourself to love beyond judgment. Grace alone. Some people will tell us how this universe is not already in a perfect design. They might try to make us believe that we should only get what we want and nothing else. Now, this seems like the ideal situation to be in, right? Well, the spiritual awakening process is always much deeper and more complex than it appears to be. If this universe was set up this way, the great mystery would be gone. If we should never know what a block, problem, pain, or failure was like, we would be without direction, feel perpetually numb, have no longing to dig deep inside our souls to find our life mission, creativity, and spiritual path. This universe is already set up in the most intelligent manner. It's designed so that we can get a good solid taste of suffering, anxiety, or inner turmoil, and use it to awaken with. Whenever we go unconscious and forget the divine, all-intelligent universe is everywhere around us, we instantly suffer. Whenever we allow the mind to form any judgment and register only one side of reality, our problems begin. This universe loves us so much that it doesn't want us to live, doesn't care to have us live in any lie. So it wakes us up with a little stress, anxiety, or emotional pain. Remember, you're the universe and the universe is you. And if we don't stop and drop our judgment, another level of suffering will soon manifest. This pain is our most perfect and most loving teacher. And by welcoming it fully, we are led back to our real state of love, enlightenment, and freedom. Ask yourself this question. Can I live this life non-seriously? Let it resonate with you. You know, there's no reason to block it or shove it aside. But let it penetrate you deeply. Can I live this life non-seriously? Which means what? Have fun. Enjoy the life. You'd be surprised what happens. See, we have choices all the time. But if you choose, because of other people's programming, to live, to be in a life that is always stressful, always haranguing, always irritable, pressuring, then you will. As we know that we live in a world that ignores the fact that a supreme, divine, all-loving intelligence lives within us. And as we all know, we have been programmed to believe many things, one in particular, that we are spiritually disconnected and must fix our broken selves to feel whole and reconnected again. I believe we would all agree with that. We just don't realize it yet. We are just used to feeling spiritually numb. And it's pretty apparent on this planet, isn't it? Because we have been plagued every day of our lives by an overly materialistic society, which is constantly seducing us with its glorified billions of dollar hypnotic media programming. And we know that it's all a lie. It's an illusion. It's almost like we have contracted a deep case of spiritual amnesia and have forgotten how to relax into our spiritual essence, find our own intimate connection with the divine. This is an everyday ignorance of our spiritual nature is the greatest lie mankind is living today. It is the cause of, you want to know what the cause is? It is the cause of every moment of suffering each human being is currently enduring. One may think this spiritual drought was created by mankind, coincidentally, and is not part of the grand divine design. Well, we know nothing is by coincidence or without purpose in this universe. This blind ignorance is within us all on purpose, so that we move more passionately towards a state of awakening. These intense levels of disconnection, they drive us deeper inside ourselves to find our own soul. This lifetime that we're in right now, this lifetime we have is meant to be a deeply enlightening experience. Is there, ask yourself, in the quiet time of this meditation, is there anything more important than knowing how to access our own direct personal connection to an all-powerful, deeply eternal loving source of highly intelligent creative energy that has the magical power to manifest anything our heart desires? That's a question one asks themselves. This lifetime we have is meant to be a deeply enlightening experience. Is there anything more important than knowing how to access our own direct personal connection to an all-powerful, deeply eternal loving source of highly intelligent creative energy that has the magical power to manifest anything our heart desires? There is nothing more vital to finding happiness in this life than knowing one's spiritual connection, and nothing more exciting than a proven way to access it, which works every time. It works. This works every time. And in the quiet time of this meditation, we've stated this before, but it's like reading a book. The first time you read it, you only get so much. Second time you read it, you get more. The more you view, the more you will take in. No matter how ridiculously stuck any of us may feel about our financial situation, relationships, health, sex life, and future, there is always a way to reach freedom. Now, if you wish to gain a greater spiritual perspective in this life, make the choice now to clarify your personal relationship with the divine. You can see just how far you've come on your spiritual journey by taking the risk to answer these challenging questions. These are for us to ask ourselves. What is stopping you from always being in communion with God? These are questions to ask yourself openly. What exactly is your relationship with God like? Remember, this is not religious. This is deeply, eternally spiritual. What does it feel like when you are having a truly intimate connection with God? How often do you recognize and connect with the divine aspects of yourself? How is your life different when living with this connection versus living without it? Now, the longer you sit, any of us sit with these questions, feel into our answers, the deeper we will dig into our soul and eventually discover our spiritual connection. I've talked to a lot of people through the years, and there's a perspective or concept or understanding that they're too old and, it's too late for them, or they're too old, right? And even if anyone has kind of blown 75 years of their life on gluttonous, frivolous, mindless activities, feeling perpetually lost in a superficial life, the God source is still there. The door to the divine is always open. God is waiting for us to come in. When you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. Make the time to redefine your relationship with the divine. And I could guarantee that your precious time will not ever be wasted. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath. In from the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Look at something in nature as if it were for the very first time. Maybe a tree, a bug, a rock, a flower, whatever it is. Just gaze into it, through it. This will help you see the purpose of life. As you stare into the flower or tree or open your eyes and your being to experience something of the beyond, receive the pure nature into your being. Gaze into it for a long enough time until you let it fully merge into you. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We will return here tonight, Wednesday, December 6th, 2023, around 9 p.m., 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our time for change call. It'll be a doozy. And we will return here Thursday, December 7th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's happening within you or outside of you.